You ride at night to shut your brain up, and it works. But probably not for the reason you think. It's not the peace, it's not the empty road, and it's not simply because there's less traffic. Something changes before your thoughts do. Something happens in your eyes. After dark, your visual system starts filtering the world differently, and that changes what your brain has to deal with. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what changes, and why 20 minutes on a dark road can sometimes feel like someone turned the volume down inside your head. But here's the strange part. That switch isn't really in your head, it's in your eyes. Think about what daylight does to you. Everything is visible. Signs, buildings, cars, people, storefronts, colors, movement, tiny details. Your eyes are constantly collecting information, and your brain has to decide what matters. That's useful. It's also exhausting. During the day, your visual world is wide open. Your central vision is dominated by cone cells. They're what give you sharp detail and color. They're concentrated heavily in the center of your retina, right where you're looking directly at something. A face, a road sign, a screen, a car in front of you. Everything is rich with information, and your brain is very good at processing it. Maybe too good. Because here's what happens when the sun goes down. Your cones become much less effective in low light. Another system starts carrying more of the load. Rods. You have roughly 100 million of them, and they're extremely sensitive to light. But there's a trade-off. They don't give you the same color and fine detail that cones do. So as darkness increases, the visual world changes. Colors become weaker. Fine detail disappears. Shapes become more important. Movement becomes more important. And suddenly, the world gets simpler. There's even a name for part of this effect, the Purkinje shift. In dim conditions, colors that look bright during the day can appear much darker, while blue-green wavelengths become relatively more visible. Try it tonight. Sit somewhere dim. Look at something red, then wait. As your eyes adapt, that red won't look the same. The color starts losing its strength. The world becomes less about, what exactly am I looking at? And more about, where is it? That's a very different visual environment. And this is where riding gets interesting. Because your motorcycle creates something almost absurdly simple. A small island of visibility inside a huge ocean of darkness. Your headlight illuminates the road ahead. Your eyes lock onto that relatively narrow region, and everything outside it becomes harder to resolve. The world doesn't disappear. It becomes less detailed, less colorful, less demanding. And think about what that means. During the day, your visual system can be bombarded by hundreds of competing signals. At night, especially on an empty road, many of those signals simply aren't available. There isn't a restaurant sign demanding attention. There isn't a crowded sidewalk. There aren't 10 different colors moving through your peripheral vision. There isn't a billboard 300 meters away trying to sell you something you never asked for. There's the road, the headlights, the next corner, the movement ahead. That's it. And this is where I need to make an important distinction. The science that your eyes adapt to darkness is well established. The shift from cone-dominated justice into rod-assisted vision is real. The reduction in color and fine detail is real. But the claim that this exact mechanism is the reason riders feel mentally calmer is different. That's an interpretation. There isn't some laboratory experiment where researchers connected hundreds of motorcycle riders to retinal sensors and proved, yes, this is why they feel peaceful at 11:47 p.m. So I won't pretend the evidence says more than it does. The mechanism is solid. The psychological conclusion is a hypothesis built on top of it. But there's another piece of evidence that makes this much more interesting, because you aren't actually becoming sleepy. Think about your last night ride. You probably remember very little of the scenery. You remember the road, the lane, the headlights, maybe the reflection of a sign, a curve appearing out of the darkness, a car approaching and then disappearing behind you. Your attention becomes narrow, but narrow doesn't mean weak. Sometimes, narrow means powerful. One study of motorcycle riding found that riding can increase physiological arousal and alertness rather than simply relaxing the rider. In other words, you're not necessarily sedated. You're awake, very awake, but your attention becomes more focused, and that creates a strange combination. Your body says, pay attention. Your visual environment says, there isn't much to pay attention to. Those two things can coexist. And that may be part of why riding feels so different from simply sitting at home. Because when you're sitting on the couch, your mind can wander anywhere. Work, money, messages, yesterday, that thing you never finished. Your mind has spare room, so it fills it. Can't leave an empty room empty. But at night, on a bike, that spare room disappears. You're watching the road, the speed, the next corner. Your mind doesn't get to argue with itself. The thoughts don't vanish. They just lose priority. For years, I thought the road was calming me down. Now, I'm not so sure. Maybe it just fills the space, so nothing else fits. You're not thinking about nothing. You're thinking about one thing. And one thing is sometimes enough. Think how rare that is now. 50 notifications, 12 tabs, 10 disasters in 30 seconds. Then the road goes dark and your world gets borders. A few meters of asphalt, one corner at a time. For 20 minutes, the world is small enough to hold. So you're not relaxed because you drifted off. You're relaxed because your attention got narrow. The noise drops. The sharpness stays. Maybe that's what riders are really after. Not escape, control. Think back to your last night ride. You don't remember the scenery. You remember the light and the road inside it. Your thoughts had to wait. For once, they didn't get the microphone. You did. So next time someone asks why you ride at night, you don't have to say the empty roads. Maybe darkness just removes the noise without removing you. But there's one more thing. The same eyes that quiet your mind are also scanning the dark. They can catch movement before your brain knows what it is. So, can your eyes warn you about danger before you even see it? That's the next one. It's linked on screen. Ride safe and let the dark do the quieting.